Let's get ready to rumble!
He's an unusual character, Jake Paul. It was great to see him. I saw him in person and had a chat to him. Nikita Bedarian did take me up on the column I'd written saying it demeaned Joshua's legacy and shouldn't be allowed to go ahead. Look, I'm going to it. I'm covering it. It's a very big event. We'll do astronomical numbers. People are going to tune in to see Jake Paul get knocked out against this British behemoth of a boxer. So it's just a weird one, but it's massive. It felt massive.
How are your feelings on it now you've been at the press conference? Do you think this affects Anthony Joshua's legacy? How do you see it?
Yeah, my piece on that was a slight at the fact that this guy is one of the modern standout heavyweights. He's a guy that put heavyweight boxing back on the map in the UK alongside Tyson Fury, brought a great era to the sport, brought so many eyeballs to the sport, made it great again, had so many amazing fights, good and bad, has been a fascinating study the entire time. So it doesn't demean him in the amount of money he's going to earn for facing Jake Paul. And, you know, he's a prize fighter. But it doesn't do anything for his legacy to fight Jake Paul other than his bank balance. So in that sense, I'm sceptical about it. But having been there, well, even before I was there, I was fascinated by it. I was still fascinated by it when I was writing the column. I didn't say I'm not going to watch it.
Look who the fuck is back. The king of Miami. At least him once was.
Gareth basically begging to get some credentials for that fight in Miami. More than likely his paymasters have had a word with him. Clean it up. Clean it up. Don't upset Eddie Hearn, although Eddie's not promoting it. But Gareth said Nikita had a word with him. And Jake Paul's spiteful. You know what I mean? Gareth might turn up to Miami. Now you're not allowed in.
Imagine saying no.
How much we talking?
As if I'm going to tell you.
No, I'm not asking for an exact figure.
It would be well around a career high payday for AJ to fight Jake Paul over 8 rounds. Come on, mate. Let's live in the real world here. Gareth said, it affects his legacy. You can't fucking eat legacy, mate. He's got an Olympic gold medal and 2 world heavyweight championships. Love to see Gareth Davis turn it down.
Gareth, are you up for this discussion?
Well, there's no discussion to have. He's got his opinion. He's entitled to it.
What is your opinion?
I'm 2 sides of it. I have no issue with Anthony Joshua making 50 to 100 million out of a fight against Jake Paul. The fight's on. But I would like to see him fight Tyson Fury next year as well.
I mean, obviously, that's what we want to do. What I'm saying is, if people criticise it, people say, it affects his legacy. I just said, you can't eat legacy. He's got an Olympic gold medal. He's got 2 world championships. What would you do if you were Anthony Joshua and you were offered this? What would you do?
I would take the fight.
Right, that's okay.
Yeah.
Can I just say something? Can I say something? You're not getting credit for Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua, apparently.
What do you mean?
You should not say that.
We'll slag it off, but they'll fucking want to be there in their numbers. I know you will be. You might not be there, though, the way things are going.
If I was working in media, mainstream, I might be tempted to toe the line. Like Gareth, and change my opinions. I might well be tempted because basically it's all about the mortgage and the rent, ultimately. It does make it difficult to take boxing media serious, because if you can come off your principled stance on a fight because of media credentials and access to the fighters and all the other perks and props that go with it, what else would you do? What else would you say to accommodate the promoters? And I'm only using Gareth because that's the latest example. It's not directed at Gareth, it's directed at mainstream media. How do you go from this fight should not be commissioned to saying this?
I was still fascinated by it when I was writing the column. I didn't say I'm not going to watch it.
Media is crazy. The promoters are crazy. Like Jake and Nikita, they tried to block Eddie from the post-fight press conference in the second Katie Taylor-Amanda Serrano fight that Katie won. So, of course, Eddie wanted to be there to be part of the moment where the MATCHROOM fighter had a significant victory. They tried to block him because Eddie hit Jake with a lawsuit with some of the bullshit that Jake was talking after Katie won the first fight over Serrano. But Katie's team spoke up for Eddie, and basically they weren't going to do the presser unless Eddie was there. Boxing scene, they've been blocked from Riyadh since August last year for perhaps probing too hard into the practices of Turkey and the General Entertainment Authority. Lance Pugmire is right in the middle of it. He was accredited for one of the cars last year, and then that was retracted. Then you go around social media, and then You get the people who are commenting and looking at the post saying, why didn't you grill this promoter or this boxer? Why do you think they're not grilling them? Because they'll lose accreditation. It's not that easy to go around just bulldozing through these events, talking to any and anybody how you want. You can't do that. And we're going back a few years. I saw some people who tried to do that. And let me just say, they're not here today. But yeah, they were developing a little cult following. Yeah, he keeps it real. He says what he wants to say. Well, they're not here now. And there's a reason for that.
Boxing. Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
Devin Haney, he's got a style we love to hate. And that's what they did when Floyd Mayweather was coming through. And
once again, first of all, he's saying they did the same thing to Floyd Mayweather. Devin has never been the offensive machine that a younger Floyd Mayweather was. When Floyd was Devin's age, is when the knockouts slowed up. But up until then, Arturo Gatti, Philip Endu, Diego Corrales, Angel Manfredi, there was a lot of stoppages there, and significant stoppages. And listen, Floyd has never had a night like Devin had against Ramirez, which to me is the only real fight that Devin stank out the place. I haven't really seen Devin stink out the place apart from the Ramirez fight. So everyone going around saying Devin boring. Okay, that's your opinion. The Ramirez fight, yeah. When Devin fought guys like Linares, he already had the points in the bag, and he got hurt late on because he was trying to knock Linares out.
3-weight world champion now, put Norman down early. And the thing is about Devin, which is what people don't like, he doesn't like to stand and bang. He doesn't want to be hit, and there's nothing wrong with that. So it's not a fan-pleasing style, and Conor Benn can lean on Eddie Hearn's shoulder as much as he wants. But Devin Haney has already achieved so much more than Conor has in the ring. I'd love to see them in the ring together. I think it sells over here. Maybe they could make it at 150 or something. Doesn't have to be for a belt, but I think it's a shame that they can't see they could harness the power of his notoriety and fame over here and come and fight him. A Devin Haney fight for him over here is quite big against Conor Benn.
Gareth, my old son, they can see it. They can see it. But let me tell you this now, right? MATCHROOM PR. Unless Conor can find a bomb, a right-hand bomb, or a left hook from somewhere, Devin schools Conor Benn. Whether it's pretty or ugly or whatever you want to say, Devin schools Conor.
Nonsense, back to school again.
Makes it look like a sparring session. Now I know there's a lot of boys in the comment section. Oh, Beats is anti-MATCHROOM now. No, I still think Conor's a good fighter, but I think Devin is an exceptional fighter. He has flaws, but he's an exceptional fighter, in my opinion. Conor's 28. Devin is 27. 3-weight world champion. And you know what's going to beat Conor? If he was to face Devin, you know what's going to beat him?
The experience is the ticket. You got to have it, so get with it.
The experience. The same experience that beat Brian Norman the other day. It's priceless. You go through Devin's resume for a 27-year-old. You won't find much better in this era. It's impressive to me. I'm not asking anyone to agree, but it's impressive to me. People in the comment section getting mad, basing it on, I don't like him. No, he's not the type of person we would hang around with.
Devin Haney, this is my personal opinion. I enjoyed his fight with Brian.
Yeah.
I did. I enjoyed it. And there's a few rumblings online, and I want you to address this directly, if you can, that they've said the reason why you don't want to let Conor go in with Devin Haney, deep down you believe that he's the more skilled boxer, and Conor, there's no way Conor can beat him. What do you think?
I mean, I
about
think
that?
Conor can definitely beat him. I think Devin is probably the more skilled boxer.
Probably. October Red skillfully exposed this dude. You got exposed. She exposed you. This guy is banging on about how boring Devin is, because that way, when Conor ducks Devin, everybody's gonna be fixed on Eddie saying nobody wants to watch Devin fight. That's why we're not taking the fight. That's not boxing, right? And this is coming from the guy who said nobody wants to fight for Dana White's Super belt. Boxers want to fight for established world titles, WBC, WBA, WBO, which Devin has, and IBF. Yeah, so basically Eddie Hearn is going to hold up tradition as long as one of them belt holders ain't got a difficult style that the likes of Conor can't deal with.
And then there's Conor Benn, who's looming.
Can we pause on that for 1 second?
All of these guys.
The writing on the wall is Conor Benn tactically wants nothing of Devin Haney. It seems like promotionally, and remember, Coach Garcia said this. Your promoter can yik-yak all you want. You have to want the fight. And Devin Haney, does Conor Benn really want that smoke right now to you?
I think Conor believes in himself. I think as far as the fight being made, I'm not sure that the business people behind him may believe in him. You know, they look at him and protect him at all costs. You know, Eddie Hearn went to bat for him when the PD scandal happened, and, and he made like everybody was crazy. Like I think the people that are making money on Conor will defend him at all costs and try to maneuver him in the best way possible at all costs. Conor strikes me as a competitive guy that believes in himself and would fight everybody. Do I think he beats everybody? No, I think he loses to most top guys, if not all top guys. If we consider Mario Barrios a top guy, maybe Conor beats Mario Barrios. But I don't know that the Haney fight gets made if Eddie Hearn has anything to do with it.
Here's what they think about you.
Duck alert, duck alert, duck alert, the alarm.
Eddie Hearn, you got exposed. You said Devin is probably more skillful. There's not more really to say. But hey, Conor don't really need Devin. You can manufacture Conor a belt from Barrios and act like it's the same as beating Devin for the title. It's not a problem. We know the game. Conor's dad, Nigel, is a legend. Great fighter. It's funny though, isn't it? How him, Junior's dad, and Michael Watson, all three of them were behind a revival of British boxing in the 80s. But all three of them had something in common. They all ducked Harold Graham.
Boxing. Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
Listen, a lot of people talk about the weight, the rehydration in particular is something that shouldn't exist in boxing. There's doctors that will tell you that. It doesn't take me to tell you that. The board, I think, need to get across that now. I think that should be outlawed in British boxing completely. And one day that can go wrong and there'll be people to answer for it.
Someone's going to be held accountable if something goes wrong. But not Ben Shalom, the promoter, who gets a cut out of Chris's purse. He shouldn't be held accountable. He called out the British Boxing Board of Control. They should abolish rehydration clauses. The British Boxing Board of Control possessed the oldest title belt in boxing, the Lonsdale belt. No rehydration clause. Chris got paid extra because he accepted the terms of 2 rehydration clauses for 2 fights. Chris could have took fights that didn't include rehydration clauses. He waited around for Conor Benn, and Chris was being offered fights worth millions.
What can you tell us about the Hamza Shiraz offer, the $5 million that was made to Eubank?
That's true.
Yeah.
It's not bullshit, that's true. And that offer was made by Turkey Al Sheikh.
All the shit he's talking about Eddie Hearn. The reason he's talking shit about Eddie Hearn was because Eddie wasn't going to give him the easy fights he demanded.
Where were you in the race for Chris Eubank Jr., which has now been won by Ben Shalom?
I mean, we had a conversation, not myself, but I think Frank Smith spoke as a team. As I understand it, he wanted 2 gimme fights to come back to. He's been inactive for a long time. He's been out for a year. So we wanted to give him 1 fight and then fight Conor Benn, but he wanted 2 fights. So they messaged Frank, I think, last night just to say, look, we're going to do these 2 fights and then we'd like to fight Conor Benn. So we'll keep that communication open, but I guess he'll return in those 2 easy fights, August, September, and then December.
A week later, we saw Liam Smith was the big favourite going into that rematch, obviously, after what happened. But Eubank dominated. What would your case be as British champion to potentially ink in a fight with Chris Eubank Jr.?
I'm the British champion, meaning I'm currently the best in Britain. It means he's not. So if he wants to be the best in Britain, go and come and see me. Seeing you always talks about the warrior code, and let's be warriors, man. Let's get this fight on. Me and Chris Eubank Jr., I think that'll be a great fight. I think that'll be a massive fight. I mean, he's obviously looking for payday fights, but I think a fight between me and him will be one for the ages.
You confident against Eubank Jr.?
Yeah, man. I don't see much threat in Eubank Jr. I think I'll be able to stop him. When I watch, he's open for so many shots. I think I can take him out.
So for the last couple of years, the top 2 British 160-pounders were Denzel Bentley. Chris didn't want to smoke with him 2023. Hamza Shiraz 2024. He didn't want to smoke with Hamza. Avoided Gianni Beck, Alam Kunalai in 2023, wrote to the WBO requesting that he be removed from consideration for a mandatory title shot against Gianni Beck. who had 2 belts, WBO, IBF, said he was organizing another fight. Yeah, getting prepared to fight Kamil Szeremeta. He could have easily fought Jalibek on that same Riyadh season slot for 2 belts, but he opted for Szeremeta. And for some reason, the Chris Eubank Jr. fan club are mad at me. I didn't invent the receipts. He doesn't want to take tough fights. And you know what their argument is? Is Chris is fighting for justice for fighters against evil promoters like Eddie, who force you into rehydration clauses and stand in front of ambulances trying to kill fighters. And Chris is fighting against drug cheats like CONOR, trying to rid them out the sport. Although he was trained by Roy Jones, who was popped for steroids. Conor Benn is not fighting Lewis Croker. He actually listens to his dad. He has a trainer who's been with his whole career. 7, 8 years? His trainer actually used to spar with his dad. He has an actual promoter in Eddie Hearn. Not a yes man like Ben Shalom. That's why he's not going to do a rehydration clause to fight Lewis Croker. It's a dumb move. Especially as he hasn't fought 147 since 2022. If the British Boxing Board of Control objected to Chris Eubank Jr. taking that rehydration clause, Chris, Ben Shalom, and whoever else is in his team would be in their entitlement to take out a lawsuit against the board for constraint of trade. And all they would have to do is cite the IBF rules where they're allowed the £10 rehydration clause or second day weigh-in next day. And the board have allowed these contests in the United Kingdom to go ahead. They've sanctioned them. They've licensed the fighters. And the board wouldn't have a leg to fucking stand on. These limeys, I can't even call them Brits, what do they call them? Limeys, who have been behind Chris Eubank Jr. are partly to blame for why British boxing is heading for a period of mediocrity. That's if we're not there already. Banging on about Eggy Hearn and Eggy Conor, banging on about this Ped case for free going on 4 years while Chris is ducking smoke. The last thing British sports in general needs is a culture where we're celebrating losing, making excuses for losing, participation prizes. Now, I'm not saying the likes of Sam Noakes shouldn't be getting pats on the backs and told well done, because he was an underdog against Abdullah Mason and he acquitted himself very well. And Sam don't talk the shit that a lot of these other boxers do from this part of the world. He just goes in there and does his job. And I tell you what, he came a lot closer to winning a world title than Chris Eubank has ever done. But Turkey's asked him back on Riyadh. So he's done a great job. Well done.